two portions of paper one, microeconomics and mathematical economics, whereas there are also two portions in paper two, that is macroeconomics and development economics. One thing that you need to be very clear about is that paper one and paper two, they are not exactly the same as of CSS, but they are somewhat different than CSS. In CSS paper one, we have microeconomics, macroeconomics, development economics, development economics, measurement of development economics, international economics, money and banking, and public finance. Whereas in PMS, we have two portions, microeconomics and mathematical economics. The microeconomics portion is further subdivided into five main categories, that is introduction to microeconomics, consumer behavior, production behavior, types of market structures in which we have competitive markets and non-competitive markets. Also, the mathematical economics is divided into three portions, the derivative portion, the constraint and unconstrained optimization, the development of ISLM framework with the mathematical proportion. In paper two, if we talk about CSS, in paper two, it's a detailed development paper of CSS. For example, we have the practical portion of development, we have agriculture, we have industry, we have energy sector, we have social sector, we have international trade, exports and imports, we have debt structure, we have privatization. This is CSS. But in PMS, we only have macro and development. In macroeconomics, it is further subdivided into some proportions. For the case of PMS, we have introduction to macroeconomics, we have measurement of national income, GDP, GNP, types of measurement of GDP, for example, income approach, expenditure approach. We have unemployment, types of unemployment, measurement of unemployment. Then we have real and nominal GDP. We have types of inflation, different types of inflation. Then we have ISLM framework. Then we have monetary and fiscal policy in macroeconomics. And then we have the concept of aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Then we have the concept of investment saving, that is IS curve and LM curve. This is macro portion of paper 2 for PMS. In the second aspect, the second portion of paper 2 is development economics, which ultimately is based upon the introduction of development, measurement of development, and also the fiscal and monetary policies for the betterment of international trade in Pakistan, for the betterment of debt structure in Pakistan. And the last portion is based upon agriculture, industry, and the promotion of agriculture industry at national level by the government and different policies designed by the government. Overall, there is exactly 30% difference between CSS and PMS syllabus. But there is also not only the difference is not only based upon the syllabus, but it is also based upon the type of paper asked in CSS and PMS. In PMS specifically, there are two portions, as we know that in paper 1. So the question paper is also subdivided into two portions. In paper 2, we have two portions, macroeconomics and development economics. Paper 2 is also further subdivided into two portions. In paper 1, from microeconomics, a total of 3 questions are to be attempted, whereas in mathematical economics, a total of 2 questions are to be attempted. That means 16 marks each for one question. 16 into 5 makes a total of 80 marks. and 20 marks for the objective. Same goes with paper 2. For macroeconomics, we have 3 questions of 16 marks each. From development, we have 3 questions, 16 marks each. Sorry, 2 questions, 16 marks each. 5 in total for paper 2 as well. Makes a total of 80 marks for the subjective type paper and 20 marks for the objective type paper of paper 2. Another difference for the PMS case is that in PMS, the examiner does not only ask questions for a total of 16 marks for one question, but also subdivides that 16 marks into different portions. For example, sometimes it is 8 plus 8. That means there are 2 portions, A and B, for the same question. Sometimes the examiner divides 10 plus 6, makes a total of 16. In mathematical portion, sometimes it is divided as 8 plus 2 plus 6. If you go through the past paper scheme, let me show you some of the past papers questions. I hope the screen is now visible to you. These are the questions of microeconomics of the last 10 years of PMS, which I have already extracted from some papers, some past papers. For example, if you see over here, the highlighted portion is 10 plus 6 is equals to 16. Question 1, one of the questions that was asked in 2020. Portion A and portion B. Portion A is for 10 marks and portion B is for 6 marks. Likewise, for example, here we have question number 3 for the year 2020, and that is portion A is of 6 marks and portion B is of 10 marks. Likewise, here, this question for 2020 is a total of 16 marks, no portions, no A, no B. That means one single question, but different heads. You see, what is monopoly? What determines monopoly power? The second portion of the question, derive the shapes of demand curve under monopoly. What are social costs of monopoly in comparison to perfect competition? That means 1, 2, 3, 4 portions of the question. The examiner has not divided this into A, B, C, D parts, but has given portions in the same question. That means what is monopoly? Approximately 3 marks. What determines monopoly power? Approximately 3 marks. Derive shapes of the demand curve under monopoly? Approximately 5 marks. What are social costs of monopoly in comparison to perfect competition? Approximately 5 marks. That means 3 plus 3 is 6, 5 plus 5 is 10. It makes a total of 16. This is how examiner does add as well. Let me show you some from the mathematical economics. For example, you see, there is a question asked in 2020. Part A, 6 marks. Part B, 2 marks. Part C, 8 marks. Likewise, 8 plus 10, 18 marks. Likewise, let me show you some paper questions from macroeconomics. This is a 2019 paper. Question 1, distinguish between GNP, NNP, GDP. Show how GNP is measured. 10 plus 10, 20 marks. Likewise, 6 plus 7 plus 7, 20 marks. For development economics, you see, 10 plus 10, 20, a single portion of 20. That means what I'm trying to tell you people is the examiner is not giving a question as per the criteria of CSS, but the criteria is somewhat different. The examiner is dividing the portions of the questions and assigning different marks. Sometimes examiner asks you to attempt 5 questions in paper 1, 5 questions in paper 2. Sometimes examiner asks you to attempt 3 for microeconomics, 2 for mathematical economics. Sometimes it is also 2 for microeconomics, 2 for mathematical economics. Same goes with paper 2. Either 3 for macroeconomics, 3 for development, or 2 for macro and 2 for development. That means sometimes 4 questions for paper 1, sometimes for 4 questions for paper 2. This is the division. This is how examiner divides the marks. It depends upon sometimes on the mood. There is no specific criteria that from this portion, this much questions would be asked. This is the basic structure of the curriculum and the paper design of PMS. One more thing. In PMS, comparatively, slightly, paper is sometimes technical in nature. By technicality, what do I mean? Examiner asks about the theory, asks about some mathematical portion. Examiner asks about graphic representation. All three in one question. That means whenever you prepare a certain topic for PMS, if there is a theory of that specific topic, you have to go through that theory. In theory, I mean the explanation, the definition. If there is a law, for example, law of diminishing returns, there is a law, there is a theory of that law, then there is some explanation of that law with the help of total product and marginal product. That is some mathematical derivation. Then you have a graphical representation of the law. With the help of some graphs, you explain law of diminishing returns. That means examiner divides one question by following. Ask the theory, ask about the theory, ask about the mathematical portion, also ask about the graphic portion or graphical representation of the same concept. That is why it is different from CSS. In CSS, sometimes examiner asks about the mathematical portion, sometimes examiner does not ask. Same goes with graphical and the theory. Sometimes the question is only theoretical in nature. You don't have to go through the mathematical derivations. In PMS, it is easy to score good marks because the marks are further subdivided, or the question is further subdivided into different portions. If you people join the session, I will help you learn how to get good marks in PMS and how to attempt different portions of the same question, and how much length, what would be the paper technique, how to attempt the paper, what relevant material is required for what type of question. We will go through all those portions. This is all from my side. It was just an introduction that I wanted to have with you. The most important thing is your posts, your queries, because since we are left with a very short span of time, we are not left with more time as compared to CSS. We have 1 year for CSS. Special CSS is not offered for Punjab and open merit, but to certain other provinces. Whereas PMS, we are which is just around the corner, and most probably we'll be starting the session by Monday. The session would be online through Zoom, and I have my prepared notes. I have all the reading material. I will share that with the students who will join. We will have a regular session from Monday to Thursday. You can enroll yourself through Study River. Also, the timing would be in the evening because some of the candidates, they are doing some jobs and they demanded to have this session in the evening. We will have a 4-day session and we'll try to cover the whole course in 1.5 months. so that you have some time for the other subjects as well. February is almost gone. That means we have April, March, and April, and most probably from May you will have examinations of PMS. All right, now the house is open for questions. You can unmute yourself, and also you can post your queries through chat, whatever is visible for you. Yes, Hayat, you can opt economics without having a background of economics. I have taught many students in the past who have had no background of economics and have scored good. My students or the candidates who studied economics from me having no economics background, still they were able to score 130 on average without having any background of economics. No, Ishwar, the CSS session would also be covered in the same. If you want to join for CSS, you can also join. First, we will cover the PMS portion, and then later on, at the end of the PMS portion, we will go for the CSS portion. The 30% difference of PMS and CSS would be covered at the end of the session, because we are offering this session specifically and especially for the students of PMS. Okay, any more questions? Yes, there is some mathematics involved in paper 1, that is mathematical economics. You will have to attempt 2 questions from mathematical economics portion, and that mathematical economics portion is based upon the theory of economics. No problem in opting economics. I've already told you I've had students from engineering background. Even I have taught 2 students from medical background. One of them scored 128 in the last attempt. Unfortunately, was not able to clear CSS. In the last PMS exam, one of my student who did not have economics as a background subject, or did not have any background of economics, scored 140 marks in PMS. Last PMS, in the previous one. एहसान, नेट का जो भी इशू है वो हम उसको देख लेंगे, टैकल कर लेंगे. मैं ऑनलाइन सेशंस ही कर रहा हूँ प्रीवियसली आफ्टर कोविड. तो नॉर्मली जो भी कोई स्टूडेंट का इशू होता है तो मैं कुछ स्पेसिफिक टाइम भी देना हो तो वो हम उसको मैनेज कर लेते हैं. Most probably, Irfan, the exams would be in May. In the start of second week of May. For complete session, the fee is for the complete session. It is not on monthly basis. You may consult Study River for the fee structure. Asad, you can join this, but we are targeting or we are specially offering this session for the PMS Punjab. Some portions that we will study, that we will cover in the start, would be related to PMS Punjab. For example, micro is the same in CSS and PMS, but mathematical portion is not there in CSS. So we will cover mathematical portion first, and then we will go on to cover the topics from CSS. Specifically, we will cover the topics of PMS Punjab. There is slight difference. I've already told you almost 30% difference in the syllabus of CSS and PMS for paper 1 and paper 2. Preliminary test, there is no preliminary test for PMS. Yes, Asad, after this session, we will offer sessions for CSS on regular basis throughout the year. Mehboob, what do you mean by you want to cover all questions? मतलब all questions का क्या मतलब है आपका? काइंडली मुझे बताएंगे आप? अगर आप CSS PMS की बात कर रहे हैं तो yes we will cover all questions for CSS and PMS. लेकिन पहले it would depend कि कितने लोग हैं जो CSS और PMS को attempt कर रहे हैं दोनों को. Obviously we will cover all questions, that is for sure. For BBA, it is slightly easier as compared to other subjects because in BBA you have already studied microeconomics, macroeconomics, money and banking, maybe development economics. You have fair knowledge of economics, and the base is already set for BBA graduates to opt economics right away. बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स रखते हैं BBA वाले इकोनॉमिक्स बिकॉज उन्होंने किसी ना किसी फॉर्म में BBA में पढ़ी हुई होती है. For now, it will be an online session. There is no physical session. Face-to-face session नहीं है. PMS exam is in May. Let me tell you once again, we are starting session on Monday. This Monday. Since we are short of time, we will not wait for the students to join. If you want to register, please register yourself before Monday. Monday is 27th Feb. कितना टाइम लगेगा ये तो आपको आप पे डिपेंड करता है. आई विल कवर द कोर्स इन 1.5 months. 1.5 माह में मैं कोर्स सारा कवर करवा दूंगा. एंड इफ यू स्टडी all whatever would be taught to you on regular basis, तो आपका कोर्स साथ साथ ही कवर होता जाएगा. टाइमिंग्स 6 PM. starting from Monday, 27th February by 6 p.m. As Anula, we can change timing. Slightly, we can make some changes. Zoom online session. Yes, Mehboob, अगर ज़्यादातर students ये कहेंगे that they want to study at 7 or they have some timing clash with other subjects, we can change our time, no problem for that. We can make it 7. टाइमिंग फ्लेक्सिबल है, टाइमिंग का कोई इशू नहीं है, हम इसको 7 भी कर सकते हैं, 6 भी कर सकते हैं, 6:30 कर सकते हैं, मतलब एनी टाइम इन बिटवीन 6 and 8 we can adjust. डे टाइमिंग्स नहीं हो सकती बिकॉज डे टाइमिंग्स में हर किसी की अपनी मसरूफियत है, और सिंस इट इज एन ऑनलाइन सेशन तो हम टाइमिंग शाम को रख सकते हैं, नो इश्यूज फॉर दैट. Any other question? Do we have another question from your side? Please talk to the study river management. They will tell you about the subject fee. G Yaqub, at the end of the session, not before that. अली, मैं बोल ही नहीं रहा, कोई क्वेश्चन होगा तो मैं एड्रेस करता हूँ. आई थिंक क्वेश्चंस नहीं है कोई और. Course duration 1.5 months. 1.5 months. ठीक है, thank you very much. I think there are no more questions. Looking forward to see you in the regular session.